Kathy Wood's ARK Invest does something pretty amazing. They publish their trades every single day. That gives us this rare, real-time peek inside the mind of one of the top innovation funds out there. So what can we really learn from just one day of trading? Well, today we're going to break down their key moves from November 25th and see if we can figure out the strategy behind it all. Let's dive in. And really, that's the big question, right? How does one of the world's most watched funds try to position itself for the future in just a single day's worth of trading? Every buy, every sell, it's a signal, it's a clue. And by looking at just this one snapshot in time, we can get a really fascinating glimpse into their thinking and, where they think that next big wave of innovation is going to come from. Okay, so first things first, let's get that bird's eye view. We're going to look at the major money moves for the day before we really get into the nitty-gritty of the themes behind them. Okay, right off the bat, what jumps out here is just the sheer scale of this. Look at both sides of the ledger. ARK is making these massive buys, pumping almost 0.5% into Alphabet in their main ARKK fund. But at the exact same time, they're making equally huge sells, trimming back on big names like Palantir and Exact Sciences. This tells you one thing for sure. This wasn't just a day for minor tweaks. No way, this was a day of big, decisive capital rotation. And that rotation, it really points to one single dominant story for the day. So let's follow the money. Where did the bulk of that cash go? Well, it all went into one place. A massive push into artificial intelligence.
All right, so if you take away just one thing from all of this, let it be this. On this particular day, ARK made a super concentrated, high-conviction bet on the future of AI, and they did it by pouring capital into the biggest, most established players in the game. And this chart right here, it just perfectly illustrates that conviction. Look at the Alphabet buy. This wasn't some small, tentative purchase in one fund. Nope. ARK added a nearly identical 0.5% position across 3 of their major ETFs. When you see a coordinated move like that, it's not an accident. It's a huge signal of a powerful, fund-wide strategic decision. But the bet didn't stop with just Google. Not at all. They also beefed up their AI portfolio by buying Meta, again, across multiple funds. They added to their stake in the AI infrastructure company CoreWeave, and even picked up a little Kodiak AI. See? This wasn't just a single bet on one company. This was about strengthening their entire AI ecosystem. Okay, so alongside that huge push into AI, there was a second major theme that really stood out. And that was a continued and even deepening focus on digital assets and fintech. And you can totally see that strategy play out in their buys for the day. It's like they're touching every single part of the digital finance world. They bought payment processors like Block and Klarna, big crypto exchanges like Coinbase, even the stablecoin issuer Circle. And on top of all that, they even added more to their very own Bitcoin ETF. It sends a really clear signal, doesn't it? They're building this comprehensive, full-stack portfolio for what they believe is the future of money. So, this all sounds great. Big buys in AI, big buys in fintech. But it brings up a really important question, right? Where did all the money for these huge bets actually come from? Well, the answer is pretty simple, actually. They trimmed some of their biggest winners. This is classic active management 101. You take some profits off the table from stocks that have had a fantastic run, and then you redeploy that cash into the areas where you think the next big opportunity is brewing. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. You can literally see the capital flowing out of major positions like the data analytics powerhouse Palantir and the genomics leader Exact Sciences. And where does that money end up? It flows directly into those foundational AI players we were just talking about, Alphabet, CoreWeave, and Meta. It's a direct, one-for-one strategic reallocation of capital. So simple, so clear. All right, so let's put all these pieces of the puzzle together. Let's zoom out and look at the big picture, the single, coherent strategy that really defined this one day of trading. So yeah, when you boil it all down, the strategy for the day becomes crystal clear. ARK took profits from some of their successful tech and genomics investments and then reinvested that cash with some serious conviction into 2 core areas, the established giants of AI and that whole sprawling ecosystem of digital finance. And that leaves us with one final big thought to chew on. Is this move into huge names like Google and Meta just a defensive flight to quality within the AI space? Sticking with the safe bets? Or are they positioning these giants, along with all their fintech bets, as the essential platforms, the bedrock, upon which the next wave of truly disruptive innovations will be built? The answer to that question is going to shape their portfolio and maybe even the market for years to come. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.